Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Bernard. Happy Monday. Hope you're doing absolutely stupendous. We have a very exciting topic this morning. I actually came across compliments via email from our friends over at eMarketer, Insider Intelligence, titled, How Does TikTok Commerce Stack Up Against the Instagram and Facebook? Great stuff here. In fact, actually, I'm going to share my screen here. Wrong screen, though. There you go. Slide her down. When you have multiple screens going on, it's really fun to be able to play around with this, especially when the coffee hasn't officially settled in just yet. So let me go ahead and show the screen here. Let's go ahead and, not that one. It would be this one. Yes. Screen one. Let's do it. So actually, before we get into this, I want to just share some interesting statistics that I pulled up on Facebook. On TikTok in terms of the actual platform itself. Some things that you may not be aware of, because we think of you think TikTok, you think of these young people using these great videos to just kind of talk about themselves, talk about what they find interesting. And you go, man, you know what? I can't seem to figure out how to get that brand connected with that. So let's kind of go back a little bit and look at the actual TikTok platform itself, right? So parent company ByteDance is the parent company. It was founded in September of 2016. What do you see on your screen here? Oh, is it me kind of on the side here? Let's see. Well, you can turn that off then. I'll turn that off so you can just see me on this one. There you go. It was actually, their CEO is Vanessa Pappas, Pappas. Its headquarters right now, currently, is in Culver City, California. It has 6,500 employees. So give you kind of a big picture perspective in terms of user base, which is always kind of important. This is the one that you usually end up in a slide if you were going to present this to a client. This was last updated. Oh, okay. So it was last updated on the 13th of last month. So January, February, March. So March, March 13th, 22. Okay. So active number of total users currently is 1.2 billion people. Number of downloads in 2021 total. This is 656 million downloads. Consumer spending on TikTok, which we're going to get into. It'll be interesting to see how these are, if they're consistent. This article from Omnicore actually is saying that it's $824 million. Let's see how that relates. Because I think they throw it up in this article, actually. It's down here. Actually, they throw out the total. So if that is the case, it is a very, very small share. You're talking total e-commerce going on social media platforms right now is almost 46 billion. That's with a B dollars. And TikTok makes up 824 million of that. Total active number of monthly users, 138 million. The total value of TikTok is about $50 billion. So congratulations, great project there, right? Estimated TikTok revenue, $4.6 billion. So that's just kind of really the top line in terms of that. Let me go ahead and pull some of these other statistics over because I think they're actually kind of helpful and cool. Let me go ahead and share the screen again. There we go. Boom. Let's see it. Okay, so just in terms of some of the demographics, 57% of TikTok users are female, although I'm not sure exactly what that means today. 43% are male. So it's so funny because we do like these, like all of our demographics, even Google's demographics, right, is a male and female, which is really funny because, schools and everything else like that are kind of trying to be forced into looking at things slightly different. It'd be interesting to see how those statistics end up breaking out, considering people can be just about anything they want. Roughly 43% of TikTok's global audience is between 18 and 24. So I would actually expect that number to be much higher, but it's not. So that means that there are, what are you talking, 57%, right? 57% of people are 25 years and older. Okay. Or they're really young, maybe because this says 18. 32% of TikTok users are aged between, yep, there you go. Okay. Only 3.4% of TikTok audience is older than 55. So you can try and do the math here. It is definitely skewing much, much younger. But with this number, what, 43? So you're talking, 75% are under the age of 34, right? So that definitely skews to a younger group, and they're not measuring. It doesn't look like anybody below 18, which is interesting because I am sure there are people below 18 using this. In fact, I guarantee you. So that's fascinating. 21% of Americans said they use TikTok. 21%. The average user spends an average of 52 minutes per day on the app. Good Lord, people, find something better to do. Read a book. Just kidding. 90% of TikTok users visit the app more than once per day, which is, typical with social media, right? In fact, in many cases, you're in there several times a day between the dings and alerts and, updates and seeing if people like your stuff. ByteDance collection of apps, including TikTok, total number of 1 billion active monthly users. So it is fascinating to see just how this has grown over the terms of its development. There's some financial statistics in here, which are kind of fun. Just seeing if there's any. The Mama company, ByteDance, is a $400 billion company. That's interesting. Yep, 70% year-over-year growth. Okay, so in Q4, nearly 6% of TikTok's revenue came from China, while 13% was generated in the US. So again, still a significant portion of the user base, and this was last quarter, the quarter full last year. TikTok's available market. Those are fun facts. It's currently the most downloaded non-gaming app of the year. That's something that's that would make it in that PowerPoint slide. About 200 million years of TikTok in India before it got banned. That's kind of fun. I wonder why it got banned. I guess I could read that. I could probably read that article. I'll go back to that at some point. 68% of TikTok users watch someone else's video and 55% upload their own videos. So again, really high engagement there, specifically about creating content from each of the users. And it could be just that you're, definitely skewing towards a younger audience. 1.5 billion installs on Android phones, accounting for 75% of the total usage. So that is strange. I don't know what the breakout is actually. I wonder what the breakout is per share of actual like Android versus iPhone users. That would be a question I'd like to ask too. I'll go back and look at that too. So stay tuned for more information. Yeah, hashtags are big even there. That's funny. All right, we're getting caught in the weeds here. Editor's choice at TikTok statistics. Yeah, there's just another way of looking at the data. Okay, cool. So let's get on to the actual article itself. So again, user base is pretty big, right? That's kind of the big takeaway of this. And the engagement is up, and then the target market is also about generating its own content. But the one thing we often don't consider is the actual, let's say, sales function of it, right? So the article, why it caught my attention was, how does TikTok e-commerce actually stand up against Instagram and Facebook? And the article itself is really, really solid. So I'm just going to probably just flip this off because I'll kind of add my 2 cents in here and we'll just kind of move through it. But so it says TikTok's is the commercial platform. Yeah, right. The hashtag is getting some interesting visibility. It's the hashtag TikTok made me buy it phenomenon. That's actually kind of the fun hashtag that's associated with this. TikTok is a strong driver of purchase intent, right? So what they actually write in the article is that, there's videos and just kind of a random assortment of products and, services are available on TikTok, but do any of those actually lead to like sales? So, in terms of, you'll see things like yoga pants and carpet cleaners and ranch dressing and all that kind of stuff, but does it actually lead to sales? And I think that what they end up getting into here is that, I'll just read it. It says, this blows my mind. Literally, it blows my mind. More than 1/5 of TikTok shoppers worldwide say they bought goods on TikTok all the time. And that's in quotes, all the time, ahead of other platforms measured per January 2022 Bazaar Voice survey. The study did not indicate where those purchases were completed, though. So they didn't tell you exactly which merchants were there. But the actual chart, which is definitely looking up, I'll link that in the show notes. How often do social media shoppers worldwide buy products on selected social media platforms? And of the percentage of respondents in January 2022, TikTok was number one. All the time was 20.6%. I'll just round up, 21%. YouTube is the next one all the time, and that's 16%. You think about the user base associated with the volume of YouTube versus TikTok. And again, this says social media shoppers worldwide. So they've already self-identified themselves. But Instagram, 16.4%, Facebook, 15.8%, Twitter, 15.4%, Pinterest, 11%. So, let me just show you that, because the actual chart is helpful to see, because they actually break it down by sometimes, rarely, and never as well. So that's actually kind of really helpful to kind of see as well. So let me show you. So again, TikTok, 21%, 20.6% all the time. So that's that red mark, right? And again, these are social media shoppers. And then this is sometimes. Okay, so when you start combining those percentages, you start to see kind of, the purchase intent all the time seems to be much higher with TikTok, for example. And I'm not exactly sure, the article doesn't go into the psychology of it, but it could be just the fact that, maybe there's more of an emotional connection since users are generating more content directly. Remember the stat we just pulled up, it was over 50% of the people are watching videos, but 50% were actually posting, actually creating that content. So there's a dynamic shift that's occurring there. And I'm sure content, with Facebook is the same, whether you're doing a Facebook Live or something of that nature. But people may feel a little bit more connected. Maybe it's an emotional kind of thing where you're following people and those kind of things just happen. Yeah, and so this part of it actually basically is saying, social media has an impact, right? They didn't really measure it in terms of offline, but definitely has an impact in terms of the guest as to what they choose to buy later on. So we know that via social media for many, many, many moons now, that people are they connect with brands. They can be influenced. The social digital signals that are in Facebook and Google and all that are really good at connecting advertisers with the actual person searching for that stuff across platforms. So those are very, very helpful stuff. It does say, younger user makeup helps explain the high levels of off-platform buying. I don't buy this. They actually end up saying, it's just that, they're more inclined than older generations to keep up with current trends and be influenced to buy based on them, but they have less purchasing power. And here's the part that it draws the red flag, or lack access to digital payment methods. I don't think so. If they have a phone, I don't see how that's possible, to be honest with you. You can make a statement like that. I mean, just out of sheer convenience, these people are going to be using that a lot more. So even if it's mom and dad's credit card at this point, and it could be the fact that I'm not sure how the e-commerce one was set up with this Bazaar Voice study, but I don't know if they're doing all guests, all users, or they're doing ones only 18, like the Omnicore site was doing. I'm not exactly sure, but anyway, very interesting there. It talks about total social media share. Remember, it was like 800 million over on TikTok. The total social media share across all the social media platforms is 46 billion dollars a year. That's the social media purchases that are actually occurring. And again, certain products are going to be more appropriate for that, right? Although who would ever thought you'd be buying cars, online, sight unseen, or even houses, right? So you never know. You never know. It says small but mighty. The forecast doesn't account for in-store or other off-platform buying that's common for the hashtag TikTok made me buy it purchases. So that's interesting. It does also, did I pass it up in here? They're actually working on other things too. And I think those are pretty interesting. Okay, so something to be considering. TikTok is rapidly releasing new features to drive more in app buying, including, you ready? Here's your list: mini storage fronts, product links, and the ability to integrate product catalogs into select ad formats and live streaming. So there you go. Um, the big takeaway here is, apparently this demographic, this group of people is highly engaged at not only, consuming content, but actually curating the content, right? So it's definitely changed the dynamic a little bit in terms of who's actually using that and their openness to brands kind of interplaying in that relationship, right? So there seems to be volume there potentially for certain product. Now you need to, again, as I look at how TikTok is functioning, I think you need to be real sensitive when you're going to go into this, unless you're just blowing ad dollars into it. I think the more effective a routine is going to be to try to connect with those people that actually have a share of voice with your customers or potential customers, and find some ways of kind of partnering along with that, as opposed to just blowing cash into the channel. That being said, test it. That's the only way you're actually going to know if this actually works. You'd be surprised. There was a study done, I don't know, it's probably about a year and a half ago now, maybe even longer. It talked about direct mail, right? The old traditional, I got it in the mail with my name on it and stuff. And they found that the most ripe audience for that was people under the age of 21. And the reason why is because people like us, people in digital marketing land, we assume that nobody wants to, the digital thing is what, younger people, right? Younger demographic groups want to go ahead and connect with and relate with. The fact is, it stands out for them to get something in the mail. Therefore, they're more likely to use it. So again, the only way to do that, and it was like a 2x kind of thing. It was not even like a slight variance. It was huge. So never underestimate the power of a good test just to see if it works. And then testing different versions, different timing, different complementary tools in the arsenal, right? Remember, we're going after that multi-channel kind of experience. So test it. So those are the kind of things that you need to be thinking about when you go into this kind of situation. Could it be right for you? Don't know. You have to test it. If you need help with that, if you want to go ahead and kind of hash through some ideas, feel free to reach out. Love to hear from you. And I hope that helps you this week. At least you'll know a little bit more about TikTok and potentially integrating it into your overall marketing strategy. I am Chris Bernard. Thank you very much for joining me. We'll see you next week. God willing. Bye-bye.